Hey, folks. I'm going to put on my glasses so that I can read your comments. Um, I will say right now, there's nothing monumental or groundbreaking happening right now as far as anything to do with any babies. That's not why we're here. But I've been caught off guard by so many postings on social media, which have me terrified about what's going on or what is potentially going on in our country. And I'm so scared, not scared like for my own well-being or for my kids or for our animals, but I'm just terrified of if what the conspiracy theorists are all saying about the possibility that our president Joe Biden is no longer with us. I don't mean I don't mean you know what I mean, and that is terrifying. It's terrifying to think about what powers in the deep state are at work. And so I've listened to mostly TikToks, which I hate. I hate that I allowed myself to go on to TikTok. But my friends, there are hundreds of people, different people. I don't mean there's, well, I hope it's not true. Then where is he? Where is the president then? Where is the president? I will simply ask, then where is the president? Because it's obvious that the letter that was written yesterday that we all saw was not written on the letterhead. That's obvious. The signature was not his signature. That's also been obvious. Yes, he has COVID, but even with COVID, there's not a photograph, there's not a video, there's nothing of him writing out a letter. He stated over and over and over that he would not resign his campaign. He actually said only an act of God. Okay, well, propaganda train, if you want to call it that. I'm just saying, where in the world is our president? He's sick with COVID, is what I'm seeing everyone saying. Yes, that's what we've been told. That is exactly what we've been told. But it just seems a little bit bizarre to me that he would not have publicly made that statement that he's going to go ahead and resign his candidacy, and he's also going to openly hand the reins to Kamala as far as his, what do they call that, as far as him lending his support. And so if you have, let's just, so as you can already tell from the folks who are watching, I'm not talking right wing or left wing. I'm talking America. If a week ago you did not have a candidate, an attempted assassination on a candidate, you've also had for the last 2 or 3 or 4 weeks since the debate a calling demand, an outpouring of folks asking for Biden to step down, him being defiantly saying, no, I'm not. I'm going to run. I'm going to run. I'm going to run. You've had a couple of news interviews on primetime TV where he says, I'm running. I'm running. I'm running. You've had his wife saying he's running. You've had a number, I think up to 40 now, people in his party say, no, we don't think he should run. And then he has this COVID. He comes down with COVID and he's going to take a few days off. Okay, fine. That happens. We've all had COVID, right? And now all of a sudden you get this letter that was not on the right letterhead. It was not with the right signature. And so you all can say, oh, Lester. Sure, guys, and you also know that was not the way he talks. That letter was not written in the way he talks. Okay, fine. So you have speech writers, you have attorneys, you have people that write things for you. But here's my fear. And this is not something that I created. It's just a compilation of things that I've been watching all darn day that have me terrified that there's something going on underhand, undermining all of us. It's things that we will have never have any access to, that's going to be easily written off as coincidence. Yeah, well, you know what? He was older and he got COVID. So people who are older with COVID will sometimes pass. Okay. How it just seems very unlikely that all of these things are happening in succession, quick succession of each other. And then you have this lady who's been grilled today by Congress people, and she will not give you an answer. The head of the Secret Service will not give you an answer for anything. She will not give you an answer. And this is a bipartisan committee who's grilling her because this affects all of us, y'all. This is our Secret Service. You would think and so I'm just nervous. And what do I do when I get nervous and scared? I talk to people. And who am I talking to? I choose to talk to you. I'm talking to you all. So this is not a Timeout Tuesday. This is not a Lunch with Longhorn Lester. This is not a Sanctuary Sunday. This is just Lester who's sitting here in the rain and can't feed up because animals are all inside their loafing sheds. And I'm just a nervous wreck about what's going on with this country and the leaders of this country and how far would they go? Because if you already know this, and this is nothing, once again, why do I must always say this? I have said for the last however long I can remember that I wish our country would give us two candidates who we could be proud of, who were well-spoken, who could truly represent what America is all about. And so we end up with Trump and Biden. Okay, fine. If that's the way it's going to be. If that's the way it's going to be, fine. And all of a sudden, we have what happened with the assassination attempt last week, which was a fail. But it was not only a fail on the part of the assassin, but it was also a fail on part of the Secret Service, who should have never allowed that to anything like that should have never happened. And then you have President Biden, Democrats have been asking politely and then urging and then being more vocal about, hey, step down, time to back down, step down. He's saying, I'm not doing it. And all of a sudden he comes down with COVID. Okay, I'm just doing air quotes COVID because that's part of what people are saying. And so now we've not seen President Biden since I think Thursday. And now all of a sudden you have this mysterious letter come out yesterday, which that's fine. We all suspected that was going to happen. I mean, no one. There's no one who really thought that Biden was going to continue this race. We all knew that he would probably step down. Everyone except for Biden and his immediate cabinet kept saying, no, he's still in. He's full in. And then all of a sudden he's gone silent. We have this letter that was not written. It was not signed by him. It was not on the letterhead, which is kind of weird. Okay. So, friends, I'm just telling you, I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know I'm a guy like you are. I'm just a normal guy, a normal person like you. And I just don't think everything's adding up. And I'll say, I don't think it adds up for the Republicans. It doesn't add up for the Democrats, and it doesn't add up as Americans. Nothing's adding up. And it's terrifying to me because no one wants to think what I'm thinking right now, which is what a lot of us are thinking. Yes. So Cheryl says, Biden already said that once he recovers, he'll make a speech. I hope that you're right. But I have this horrible feeling that we're never going to see him again. What we're going to find out in a day or two, or at some point, is there'll be some kind of a special announcement that Biden has passed. And they're going to say because of COVID. Of course they are. And we're all going to buy that. And they're going to say before he passed, he endorsed this person or whatever. And we're all going to have to buy it because what else can we do? What else can we do? We have to buy what the media tells us, even though many of us know and we realize, because we also have our gut instinct, and some things just don't feel right. Some things don't smell right. Some things just don't, they're not right. And this is not a Republican or a Democrat. This is an American kind of thing. And you guys who are, as of right now, trying to scream Trump, 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 Harris, 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 this is not a place for that. You guys are on those two far sides of the spectrum who don't understand and can't talk conversations. So, and then when you start fighting with each other, that's even a bigger problem. So all I'm saying right now is that there should have been a presidential letterhead. It should have been written in the language that Biden speaks in. I don't mean in an old language or an older language. I mean, it wasn't his wording. That's not how he words things. The same way, if you were to get a reply from me, you know the way I talk, you know my mannerism, you know the way I communicate. And if it was written by somebody else, you would usually know that. And I don't know if we can believe a darn thing that we see on TV. And I just feel like something is wrong. And I'm sorry if I feel that way. I do. I don't mean to add to everything. And then once again, here comes someone else screaming, I thought this was an animal channel. Well, yeah, it's an animal channel, but animals don't run our government. I just am terrified that we're going to find out that President Biden is no longer with us. And if I do hear that, I'm not going to believe for a minute that, oh, it was a complication from COVID. I'm just speaking my mind. And you know what? Lester is entitled to have a mind. Now, I'm also entitled to voice my opinion the same as you are. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to agree with anything that I say. But, and even though we always say it was animals that brought us all on the same channel and brought us all together, you have to at some point realize that we are so much more than just an animal channel, y'all. We've become friends and family, and that supersedes farm animals or a few longhorns or some horses out in the pasture. And so I'm happy to see that I do share the same concerns with so many of you all. I hear, and you know, something crazier, if you've noticed, Facebook is not saying a word. Facebook is not saying a word about anything. You can't find any news on Facebook. Yet you have to find your news from, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to say it, and I hate to even say this, but I feel like TikTok is giving me more of the news than anyone else is. And here's the thing, it's because those news sources are not the established media sources. I don't mean the CNNs or the MSNBCs or the Fox. I mean, these are from individuals that are a lot smarter than I am, that are getting a voice, and their voice is being heard on TikTok. And TikTok is just running crazy with all of these ideas. And I'm thinking, I don't know. Wow. Can that be possible? Oh my gosh. This is not real. This can't be real. And so I hope, I'm telling you right now, I need to see visual proof that President Biden is still alive. Even if he's sick, I need to see him alive. I need to see him alive. And no one has seen him alive. So I'm realizing as I talk with sincere concern for the country, there are so many people who have sincere hate for either the left or the right or for China. Okay, well, I did not come here to spread and enjoy and seeing you spread your hate. I'm just saying that I am so nervous that something horrible has happened, and I will not be able to relax until I see President Biden is truly still alive and well. Joan says, Biden's in isolation. You're not going to, a camera, it would not be that hard to have a camera, either a photograph or a video camera of him signing or typing or even saying to Kamala that he endorses her. That is something that's very unsettling in me that there's nothing to show that more than a letter that was written and signed by someone that is not Joe Biden. Very unsettling. We've all had COVID. We've all gone through COVID, but COVID does not literally, never mind. I can see there's no talking with some people. There is something fishy going on, my friends, and it worries me. So, like I said, when we first started this live was not talking about animals. There's no new babies born as of now. Jamie is over at the JL. I'm over here at Longhorn Lester's. And yes, I was gifted many shirts, and I always wear my gifts. Yes, COVID does kill people. We all know someone who's lost their life to COVID. But I just think this is very fishy. It's very, very fishy. Oh, Lord. So I think that I'm reading what most of y'all are saying, that you cannot talk to some people. Some people are not able to be talked to about things. And so it's maybe I've come to the wrong source to talk. I just wanted to talk. And I did not want to talk about your personal hate. I did not want to talk hate. And there's been nothing that I've said to spread any hate. I have talked about factual things and my concerns. And darn it, if I just could see a video or a photograph of President Biden, I would have all of this would go away. Oh, I would still be upset that there was an assassination attempt on American soil, and there's a director of the CIA who has no answer. She will not answer. She will not answer about it. And I don't think that conspiracies always equal hate. I think that a lot of things come out and are made public by people who are in the know, whistleblowers, if you will. And so I hope that these are valid concerns, and I can see that I'm voicing concerns that a lot of people also feel. And so I also know that people who are also glued to only one side or the other are only hearing things from one side or the other. An example of that is that there are so many people who had no idea that President Biden was in such decline as far as his cognitive abilities. Most people on the other side have known that for at least a year, maybe two, and the other side had no idea. So I understand how things can be hidden from us. I also know that people that watch the other side of the news have no idea what's going on the other side. It's just no one knows. And I've always said this, I wish there was a source of truly unbiased news. But I'll say this, I am watching TikTok after TikTok after TikTok of people who are saying and voicing things that I've just now told you, enough so where it's made me kind of take a step back and think, wait, could that really be happening? Could that really be happening? And I'll say this, as I said here, I don't care. You don't have to keep telling me who you're voting for. I don't care. I don't care if you vote. I don't care who you vote for. I will never ask you who you're voting for. I'm not one of those kind of reporters I'm not doing a poll. We're not taking a poll here. So you're wasting your time. You're wasting all of our time by throwing comments up about who you support and who's no good, SOB. Because ultimately, all of us are going to vote our conscience, or at least I hope you will. And in saying so, your conscience will change based on the human, the individual. There are many who are enjoying reading the comments. Well, I don't know. I don't know if the comments give me hope or make me feel even more like we're just a lost cause as Americans. Well, I don't know, guys. I just feel like there was a very determined man who had told two news reporters, Lester Holt and, I forgot the other guy. I like the other guy. I forgot his name. That he told two people on national TV that he's not going to quit. And then you begin to have all of these senators and all of these reps and all of these governors come out and say they think he should quit. He should quit. He should quit. He should quit. And all of a sudden he gets COVID. And now that he's gotten COVID, he's fine. You go rest. When you have COVID, you rest. But then you get this letter from out of nowhere. And like I said, the letter was not on the President of the United States has a letterhead. And I can promise you that letterhead, he has those letters in his briefcase. And why that was something that was written on a different type of paper, and why the signature does not match his signatures, even his recent signatures, I am terrified that somebody in the deep state made an attempt on the candidate Trump. And when that was unsuccessful, now I feel like they turned it around and made that same attempt on President Biden. And that terrifies me to know or not to know who's really running this government, who is really in charge, who is really behind the scenes, who's making decisions. So for the lady who says I sound like I'm 12 years old getting my info from TikTok, so the other options are MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, ABC, NBC, or CBS. Would you rather me go to Al Jazeera or some kind of overseas network? I'll tell you the truth. The Australian news agencies are who I kind of believe more than anybody else. The Australian news, there is an Australian news, and I don't think they give a darn. They don't give a rat's behind about either of the candidates. But they have we are just a laughing stock to the world with the riffraff that we're seeing right here in our own comments. We are just a laughing stock to the entire world. So I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of people who are recommending other news sources. I just don't, I can't say I've heard of all. I'm not really a news kind of person. You know, I make videos. I don't really watch videos. And so there's a comment that says, why would anyone keep Biden's death a secret? I don't know that either. If he were dead, I don't know why, but I don't know anything besides what we're told. And I feel like we're a bunch of sheep and we're just going to follow this or sheep to the slaughter is what I feel like. Because I don't think we can trust our media. And that's a shame that our media has been so untrustworthy over and over and over. We are also a laughingstock in Canada. I'm not surprised. Now, I know that all countries have their issues, but I do feel like the Australian news is one that I've run across somehow that I'm like, that seems pretty unbiased, because they're going to give you the scoop on Trump and they're going to give you the scoop on Biden. And the scoop meaning nothing positive, just a lot of, Lord, what now? Lord, what next? So I don't know. I've never heard of some of the other news sources that you're telling me to go watch, but I will say that I will say this. I think that I learned this at some point as a teacher. You have to state your thesis early in your paper, right? You state your thesis, which is your point. And from that initial statement, you can tell right away what the direction of the paper is going to go in. It's someone's opinion, their expressed written opinion. And so whenever I start any broadcast and they start off the news with something that is very, very biased, then I immediately realize, oh, this is a biased news source. So I don't know, friends. Australia is censored to the point of jailing people. I did not realize that. And so who's censoring in Australia? So I don't know, friends. I don't know. But and then everyone's saying, Lester, you should educate yourself. Well, sheesh, I'm glad I'm not doing it from here, because if y'all are taking time to read the comments, you'll realize real fast that what we see over here is nothing different than what we see in the real world. There are folks who are going to spew hate and anger on both sides. Anyway, so I'm just going to restate what I said when I first started the live, in the fact that I ended up catching a couple of things on TikTok that scares me into thinking that President Biden is no longer with us. And some of the reasons why they are saying that on these particular TikToks are a number of things. Let's just relist some of those things. The fact that he was very, very clear in the fact that he said he's not going to step down. In the fact that there was a letter on Sunday, yesterday, that said, well, I've changed my mind. I am going to step down. However, that letter was not written on the presidential letterhead. It was also not signed with his autograph, his signature. The fact that he did not make a video or a photograph, even though he secluded himself, isolated himself because of COVID. He still, if he took time to write the letter or to dictate, even if he had to dictate the letter to be written, you would at least expect to see that, because that's important, that someone actually sees someone endorsing someone else, not just reading about it, because anyone can write a letter. Well, I think that I've come to the wrong place to talk, because I see now that not many want to actually talk. And by talking, I don't mean that you have to agree with me. Absolutely not. You should actually stick to your beliefs, your core values and your beliefs. But if you only come on here to be a part of the audience, to be a part of what I see is the bigger problem with our country, in the fact that you just want to scream and holler and shout. We've always made fun of people who stomp their feet and raise their hands and whine like babies. And that's what a lot of folks are doing right here. Thank you for those that are being kind and polite and at least trying to calm me a little bit. Thank you for the suggestions. But like I said, until I can actually see the guy, it's the same way whenever someone in your family passes, you kind of need to see them. And so I just think it really feels fishy. There's a lot that feels really fishy. And that's the part that feels fishy about Biden. The part that feels fishy about the whole thing with Trump is just the fact that the Secret Service, the head of the Secret Service, has no answers. She can't or she won't answer. And this goes back to all of the heroic figures in American politics. Everyone as far back as Abraham Lincoln to JFK to Malcolm X to John Kennedy's Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King. Oh my gosh, there's been so many attempts and assassinations, so it's nothing new to us. However, the Secret Service has always worn a badge of shame if that happens under their watch. And this lady today has no shame. She has no shame whatsoever. She will not resign. She will not answer questions. She's sitting there very defiant in Congress with under she had to be forced to go visit. She had to have a subpoena to even show up. She did not answer their questions that were given to her a week in advance. She's taken no timeline of facts with her. And I'm like, oh my Lord. So now you can't even get answers out of anybody. Megan says, we don't have to agree, Lester, but I do agree. Thank you. It's not going to, Megan, thank you. That was sweet of you. But honestly, a lot of people won't agree. I get it. And so once again, I'm just nervous. I'm worried. And so I just wish that he would have come forward and endorsed her or anybody, whoever he's going to endorse. Come forward and let us read your lips or see you dictating or writing the paper. You don't have to come in public if you have COVID. By all means, stay. I hear a goat screaming. Hold on. Well, I'm going to have to cut this a little bit short. We're blessed for some rain. But in saying so, goats don't like to be in the rain. And I hear a goat like making a distress call, which means more than likely the goat wants to go under cover, yet one of the other goats will not let him or her. And that's always sad to me. So let me go figure out what's going on over here. Friends, I'm sorry. Did not come on trying to scare you, but I do worry. I was just trying to see if there's anything else that could help put my mind at ease. And pretty much besides a lot of arguing, a lot of people screaming or shouting or stomping your feet or accusing me of being political, I will vote, and I will vote my conscience. And I voted on the Democratic Party. I voted on the Republican Party. But I always vote for the man or woman that I think is the best fit for the country at that time. And I'll do the same thing this year when it's time to vote. So I will be as curious as you are to find out who will be on the Democratic ticket. And at that point, that's when I'll start listening and reading and watching and seeing who I think will be able to help this country more. So, and I don't apologize for that, y'all. Okay, so I will just say this one thing. Someone says it would be impossible to hide the death of a president. Agreed. But who says they're going to hide it forever? Who's to say that they're not going to come out in a day or two or three or whenever and say we have some heartbreaking news to share in the fact that President Biden passed from complications due to his bout with COVID? And if that happens, I'm not going to believe it. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to believe it. I'm going to believe that we had a double coup attempt. There was an attempt on the Republican candidate. And then when that did not work, there was an attempt on the guy who was defiantly saying, I'm not going to step down. I'm going to hold true. I'm going to run. I'm going to win. And that terrifies me to know that the deep state has that kind of reach and that kind of power. And then there's no one to give you answers. There's no one capable of getting answers. Well, Sue, I hope that you're right. That's a good point. Where's Jill? I don't think we've seen her either, have we? I don't know. Anyway, scary times. Okay, we will figure it all out. Thank you all for watching. And we'll come back and let's hope that all of these things I'm reading, all of these rumors and these conspiracy type theory things are all wrong. That's what I'm hoping for. I hope they're all wrong. All right. Thank you all for watching. And I am thinking we'll see you guys on the next video.